Welcome to the first ever Flying Knee podcast. My name is Ryan Nicosi, and I'm bringing you a brand new podcast. This is the first one I've ever done, and it's going to come to you every Monday morning. Today is a Tuesday, but I'm going to drop every single Monday. And what it's going to be talking about is sports, current events, all kinds of other shit that doesn't matter. Ask yourself a question to say, does this shit matter? If it does matter, I won't be covering it because that's not the way that I am. I cover shit that doesn't matter only. And today, we're going to be talking about MMA, UFC Sao Paulo, Anthony Joshua. We're going to be talking about Tiger Woods. We're going to be talking about the NFL and the NFL's rules that need to change. We're going to be talking about all kinds of different shit. And I just want to welcome you to the first ever Flying Knee podcast. If you're listening to this, I thank you very much. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan_Nikosey. If you want to join the conversation, ask me questions. I will answer them because I got the time. Anyways, we're going to get ourselves right into the topics. Welcome to the podcast. Tiger Woods. Holy fuck, Tiger Woods. I can't even believe he's back. He's back with a win. PGA tournament win for the first time since 2013. That's 5 years. The first time he's ever won a PGA tournament. It's his 80th tournament win. And, you know, one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen in sports. I've never seen a guy go to the absolute gutter. I believe he got arrested for a DUI. He got caught for cheating on his wife with countless amounts of women. The guy was balling out of control on his wife. And he basically came back from the bottom and he won this PGA tournament by, you know, he was basically running away with it before Sunday even started. There was no doubt in my mind going into Sunday that he was going to win this tournament. And basically, he is back. He is back from, he was almost 1200th in the rankings several years ago, and now he is up to top 20. Almost won the FedEx Cup. That is impressive to say the least, and Tiger Woods is back. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say for this topic. Tiger Woods is back. Now we'll get right into the fights. Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin. They fought at the Wembley Stadium in London on Saturday. The fight starts out, and you really get a chance to see how much bigger Anthony Joshua is than Povetkin. Povetkin looks like he's a dwarf compared to Anthony Joshua. The 6'7", absolute brick shithouse. He has the length, he's got the height, and you can and by the end of the fight, if you don't know what happened, you see the power. The power that Anthony Joshua can put behind those punches and the weight, you can really see it. It starts off, and the first round until the 2-minute and 50-second mark, you basically can see that it could go either way. Anthony Joshua or Povetkin could have won that round until the 2-minute 50-second mark. Then Povetkin lays that right hand right onto the schnoz of Anthony Joshua and puts him on his heels. Easy win for Povetkin. And he might have had a broken nose. He was bleeding going into that second round. Anthony Joshua's nose might have been broken. And Povetkin, goddamn, did he look good. The heart and the toughness that I saw out of Povetkin that fight, I think that's unrivaled. There's nothing better in sports than seeing a man be nearly broken and coming back and showing you what he's really made of, because he was fighting a much bigger man, a much younger man, and it seemed a much stronger man in that fight, and he really showed Anthony Joshua how to fight like Povetkin wants to fight, because Povetkin obviously does not have the range, but he got inside and laid some extremely good punches on Joshua in that fight. And I thought that going into that 7th round, I thought that Povetkin was up. I thought that Alexander Povetkin was winning on the scorecards, in my opinion, going into that 7th round. And I'm so glad. I was hoping and praying, I had my fingers crossed that fight would end in a knockout, because I did not want to see the scorecards get opened up to show the absolute murder and robbery of Povetkin on the scorecards, because they were not going to be generous to him, and I knew that. Povetkin would have had to knock him out or handily show Anthony Joshua what he was made of. He literally would have had to give a mauling. He would have had to destroy Joshua on the scorecards for him to win without knocking him out. And that was kind of shown. I believe the scorecards showed a tie, which is absolute, I don't know. A tie is like, it showed that it was 3 rounds to 3 rounds, I believe, going into that 7th round on the scorecards, I'm pretty sure. And I thought Povetkin won at least 4. At least 4. And a lot of the rounds that you can make a case for Joshua winning, I think that you could have given them either way. Other than that last round, obviously he won in the last round. He knocked him down and then put him away after he stood up. I couldn't see Povetkin standing up. Povetkin standing up and walking towards the ref, telling him he's good, that was incredible in my opinion. Although you don't like to see it, it's brain damage. You know, you could see his trainers, I think, were telling him to give up, because it really looked like Povetkin was out. And it looked like Povetkin was out on his feet after he stood up at that point. But it shows the heart in Alexander Povetkin. His stock goes up, in my opinion. A lot of toughness shown for Povetkin in that fight. And just an amazing fight. And in the post-fight interview, Anthony Joshua, he mentioned April 13th. Now, if that doesn't get your dick hard, I don't know what does. Because he mentioned April 13th, he's going to give the fans what they want to see. Now, if he's not giving you a preview to the Deontay Wilder-Anthony Joshua fight, I don't know what is. Because he was basically implying that fight is going to happen April 13th. Obviously, Deontay Wilder, I believe, should have to win against Tyson Fury, which, you know, that's no fucking... That's no walk in the park for Deontay Wilder, but I think Deontay Wilder ultimately walks away with the belt after that fight. And holy shit, am I excited to see that fight. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, the two best boxers in the world, best heavyweight boxers in the world at this point. I'm excited. I'm surely excited to see that fight. And holy shit, was I fully erect when I heard him say April 13th, because holy. And another thing was, he said, can we get a round of applause for Eddie Hearn? And everybody boos the crowd. I thought that was kind of funny. Anthony Joshua, absolutely stand-up competitor. Anybody who says that Anthony Joshua is afraid of Deontay Wilder just doesn't know how it goes. I think that the Povetkin fight was a mandatory title defense. So you can't really knock him for having to fight him. And I feel like there's just a lot of logistics that go into getting that Deontay Wilder fight to happen. I think that Joshua and Wilder want the fight to happen. It's Eddie Hearn and the higher ups in his production that didn't allow it to happen because of the mandatory Povetkin fight. And I think it's gonna happen. It seems at this point it's going to happen as long as Deontay Wilder wins that fight against Tyson Fury. I think it should happen. I'm excited for the Tyson Fury-Deontay Wilder fight in December. It is going to be a great fight to watch, and I'm excited. All right, next we have UFC Sao Paulo. We have an inductee, the first ever inductee into the Flying Knee Hall of Fame. Whenever a fighter gets a flying knee knockout, he will be added into this Hall of Fame of fighters who get the flying knee knockouts. And we have Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos defeated Luigi Vendramini via KO from flying knee and strikes. Welcome, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. You are part of the team. Holy shit, was it a dirty knockout? He checked a kick. Luigi Vendramini hit a low kick. It was checked. He was falling back. And you saw Dos Santos go in for the kill. He put the knee straight on the underside of his chin, and you just saw the lights go out for Vendramini. He fell against the cage. He was on his horse. He was trying to get away, but Dos Santos came after him with a fury. Was that ever an amazing show of athleticism to watch? I love the flying knee knockouts, hence the name of the podcast. Okay, and I started watching this card during the Augusto Sakai vs. Chase Sherman fight. Chase Sherman, please put your hands up or move your head. Because Chase Sherman, I follow him on Twitter, one of the funniest Twitter accounts in the UFC community. Posts hilarious memes, funny guy in general. But Augusto Sakai made him look like a human punching bag in this one. Chase Sherman, please, if you're going to walk someone down, Chase Sherman, he was walking Augusto Sakai down the whole fight. He was setting the pace. He was always moving forward. I think Augusto Sakai was against the cage for the majority of the fight. Chase Sherman took the middle of the octagon. But if you're going to take the middle of the octagon, you have to at least not block with your face. Because he was absolutely eating punches for, I believe it was a TKO at 4:03 of round 3. So he was for 2 rounds straight. 2 rounds in a minute straight. He was walking him down and just taking punches. I don't know if it's a muscular endurance thing, if you can't hold your arms up for that long, or if it's a stamina thing. You're just so gassed. It is heavyweights. You're just so gassed you can't even keep your hands up. But it seemed like, first of all, both guys were absolutely drained. It was, after the first round, it was like when you're playing UFC 3, the game, and both guys have no stamina, so they're just throwing weathered punches at each other. That's what it looked like. But Chase Sherman was eating punches, and I beg and plead, this guy, I love his Twitter account, I beg and plead, you keep your hands up. Because all the brain damage that I'm seeing thrown your way in that fight, it was hard to watch, because I'm a fan, and I just couldn't watch it. Anyways, Augusto Sakai defeats him via TKO strikes. Now we have Ryan Spann defeats Luis Enrique via unanimous decision. Ryan Spann, clear winner there. Unanimous decision, to say the least. The 29-28 on one of the judges' parts. I don't know what they were watching there. Ryan Spann basically controlled Luis Enrique the whole fight. Took him to the ground, controlled him there. He threat submissions. He was beating him striking, I believe, too. And yeah, easy fight win for Ryan Spann. I think he's got a bright future in the division. And then we have Francisco Trinaldo defeated Evan Dunham. Trinaldo, not a young guy. Evan Dunham, also not a young guy. He retired at the end of this fight, and he actually tweeted, he said he has no desire to come back to the fight game after that. Francisco Trinaldo put a hot knee into his body, right into the liver, perfectly placed knee, and you just see him fold over right away. He was out. It's body shot, something about body shot knockouts are just so much more satisfying to watch. I don't know what it is that's about it, but I think it might be because of the lack of danger. I think for both fighters, I don't think that there's any other, unless it's so hard you're going to get internal bleeding. But I don't think that there's any long-term, ramifications of getting a knockout to the body. But just so amazing, as in it looks like they're truly in pain when they see when you get knees to the body. Like that Jose Aldo on Jeremy Stevens. You've never really seen Jeremy Stevens, show pain on his face. Jeremy Stevens is an absolute warrior, but that body shot folded him over, and it looked like he was giving birth. Francisco Trinaldo put that knee into his body, and it was truly an amazing sight. Very good, very great fight to watch. He won in round 2 with a knee to the body. Next, we have Charles Oliveira versus Christos Giagos via submission with a rear naked choke. I couldn't see this fight going over any other way. Charles Oliveira, amazing submission artist. He actually now has the record in the UFC for most submission wins. And he topped Royce Gracie. He had 10, now he's got 11. And just amazing. I honestly did not see this fight going over any other way. Charles Oliveira, amazing submission artist. Tip my cap to him. Great submission, great fighter. Up next, we have Randa Marcos, Marina Rodriguez. We have Randa Marcos, the hometown favorite for me. She's also from Windsor, Ontario, where I am from. I thought Randa Marcos won. Call me biased. I thought Randa Marcos won this fight. I just thought she did more. I don't think either fighter was ever in danger. I just thought that Randa Marcos did more. As far as I watched the whole fight, I thought she did more. Nothing else to say about that. Andre Ewell defeated Renan Barão. Renan Barão, I think Andre Ewell, it was by split decision. Andre Ewell, I think, just looked better. I think he obviously deserves the win. I don't know if it was deserving of a split decision, though. I thought that it should have been 29-28 all the way around. I don't think Renan Barão won more than one round. in my opinion. I don't know if that was the Brazilian fans or the judges giving him more than he deserves, but I thought that Andre Ewell won that unanimously. He just showed more. He was walking him down. He just looked younger, looked like he was just doing more, doing better, doing more damage. I think Henenbrow was showing in the first round, at the end of the first round, I believe he was threatening a submission on the ground. I think that was the only round that I would have given to Henenbrow. Next, we have Antonio Rogério Nogueira defeats Smiling Sam Alvey. Can't say I wanted to see this fight. No, won't lie to you. Sam Alvey got all the respect in the world for him. But Little Nog, how old is this man? I think he's 42. 42 years old in the octagon. I feel like there should be an age cutoff. Like at that point, his face is so weathered. He looks like he's 42 years old. His face is so weathered. He looks like a cartel member. His face looks like the inside of an old catcher's mitt. He really does not look great. But he looked great in this fight apparently because he got the KO via punches on Sam Alvey. He rocked him with a good right hand, and Sam Alvey was on his horse trying to get away, and then he caught him again, folded him over, and took the fight. Glad it was over. Good knockout. Hats off to Little Nog. Next, we have Alex the Cowboy Oliveira defeated Carlo Pietrasoli. And Carlo Pietrasoli, he went for a low kick. Alex caught it and put the right hand on his temple. Short right hand, awkward. It looked awkward. Did not see, if Alex Oliveira didn't notice that he was rocked, I don't think anybody else would have noticed he was rocked because he obviously felt something in Carlo and went for the finish because it didn't look like it had all that much steam on it, but he went in for the finish and he succeeded. Great fight for Cowboy. And I'm not surprised. I honestly would have taken Cowboy in the bets if I would have bet on the fight. Cowboy is a great fighter. Seems to be finding the finish often. And next we have an absolute war. Eric Anders lost to Thiago Santos via TKO. And, if you didn't gain respect for Eric Anders through a loss, his stock goes up through a loss too. Eric Anders, through the loss, I think gained more respect from me than Thiago Santos even gained. Because Eric Anders showed so much maturity in the octagon. He went up. See, this fight wasn't even meant to be from the beginning. Neither of these fighters were on the card when this main event was released. When this main event was released or announced, sorry, is the word I was looking for. It was Glover Teixeira, Jimmy Manuwa. Glover Teixeira gets taken off the card due to injury. Next, it is Thiago Santos, Jimmy Manuwa. Jimmy Manuwa gets taken off the card due to injury. And did they give up on the card on this main event? No, they did not. Eric Anders steps up, goes up in weight to the light heavyweight, as did Thiago Santos. He had a short camp. Thiago Santos had a full camp. I think Eric Anders might have edged a little bit more if he had a full camp. If I'm being honest with you, it was interesting to see Eric Anders sort of attempt to wrestle Thiago Santos because that's not something that we've seen out of him much. But I thought it was amazing to watch Eric Anders' heart. His heart and his toughness. His toughness is unmatched. He was just taking punishment. And at points, there was times where you thought Thiago Santos was on the ropes a little bit. With Eric Anders rocked him at some point, and I figured Eric Anders could get the stop, But it was amazing. Thiago Santos, obviously, he showed great all around, just fighting abilities. He showed his power, for one thing. He showed that he actually has some solid power, and Eric Anders showed some solid chin because he was getting clean shots to the face. And Eric Anders eventually was stopped between rounds 2 and 3 after he was hit with a barrage of elbows on the ground. And he couldn't even make it to his corner. And then I believe Mark Goddard stepped in, told him the fight was off because he couldn't stand. He could not stand. And it was kind of tough to see a guy looking so beaten up after such a war, even though it was so fun to watch during. It's tough to see after because you just think of the ramifications of the injuries that they could receive to the head. But he tweeted later on, he said that was exhaustion. It's the most exhausted he's ever been after a fight. It's good to see because hate to see a guy get brain damage in a fight game, even though that's what comes with it. Eric Anders, hats off to you. Thiago Santos, you as well. Next we have more MMA. Alexander Gustafsson is tweeting at John Bones Jones. John Jones is back. He is back. I don't know when he's going to fight again, but Alexander Gustafsson is tweeting at him to make this fight happen. I'd love to see it. Gustafsson, Jones 2. The first fight was a war. Could have gone either way. They gave the defense to John Bones Jones. And, well, I'd love to see the part 2. He said, who would you fight if not me, champ? That's the only fight that makes sense right now. Why wait? Let's do it. Let me beat you one more time. And a picture of himself. That was on Instagram. I'm looking at the Twitter. And, yeah. He's tweeting at John Bones. He wants to fight. I'd love to see the fight. Dana White says it won't happen on the 230 card in November 3rd, even though he is reinstated October 28th. I would love to see it. I'd really love to see that fight. I don't know what other fight you're going to put in that main event spot. I don't see any other bigger fights than the Nate Diaz-Dustin Poirier fight, other than this one, considering they just put Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Valentina Shevchenko on the UFC 231 card in December in Toronto. That's the main event in Toronto, and our co-main event, I believe, under Ortega and Holloway. But I honestly cannot think of another fight that is better than the Nate Diaz-Dustin Poirier than the John Jones one, other than Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington. But we know now that is not going to happen, as I will talk about in a second. But I don't know what they could slate for that main event, considering the great fight that is on the co-main that they're saying is not the main event. Now, if they just say it's not the main event, and then they realize that the John Jones fight's not going to happen, and then just slide the co-main event up, I just wonder what's going on, why Dana White wouldn't put John Jones on the main event there. Maybe John Jones is being difficult. Maybe he wants a title shot, or he wants something bigger. I just can't see why the fight wouldn't be made unless it's from the fighter's perspective, because unless John Jones is deciding he wants something bigger, maybe he wants bigger money, maybe he wants title shot, he won't get a title shot, to be honest with you, because he's waiting on Daniel Cormier. I don't think Daniel Cormier will come down yet until he fights Brock Lesnar. After that, then he will fight John Jones, I believe, as long as John Jones stays with his head on his shoulders and stays healthy. I think that, in my opinion, from the outside, excuse my ignorance, but I will say it seems obviously Alexander Gustafsson would like the fight, and I can't see why Dana White would not want the fight. So I think it might be left off to John Jones not wanting the fight. He might want something bigger, but I think that he doesn't deserve something bigger at this point after he got popped. Being popped, I feel like should set you back at least a little bit, And yeah, so that's I'm not sure what they're gonna put for the main event for that card, but we'll move on. Artem Lobov, he says Khabib doesn't have any striking, but McGregor can easily out-grapple him. Might be the boldest statement I've seen on MMA in a while, other than Colby Covington, but we set him in a separate category. He said, when you say it like that, it is as if Conor doesn't have any wrestling and grappling, and Khabib doesn't have any striking. Lobov told MacLife, it is true that Khabib doesn't really have any striking, but it's certainly not true that Conor's grappling or wrestling is not on that level. Although I do see where he's coming from. To say that McGregor doesn't have any grappling is bold, but it's a hot take, is what I'm saying. It's not completely unheard of that McGregor can't, do stuff on the ground against Khabib, but I think that it is a hot take, to say the least, to say that he can out-grapple Khabib. Khabib is the best grappler in the UFC, in my opinion, at this point in time. I would say he's in the top 3 in the upper echelon of wrestlers. If you put him with Tyron Woodley and Daniel Cormier, that's the top 3. And yeah, I think that's bold. I don't know what to think of what's going to happen in that fight, but I believe Khabib is favorite, which I'd probably bet on McGregor. I'm kind of inching towards McGregor in like a 1% way, as in they fight 100 times, McGregor might win 51 of the times. That's my opinion on the fight at this point in time. But yeah, just interesting hot take coming out of Artem Lobov. I believe he doesn't have a fight slated yet, but yeah, hot take. Next we have Colby Covington slams brittle bitch, calls Tyron Woodley a brittle bitch for undergoing surgery, even though Colby Covington just got surgery and had to drop out of a card for his deviated septum surgery. Now, he said that brittle bitch fights 1.5 rounds in 14 months and needs another surgery. Quit playing games, Tyrone. Spelt it wrong. You know, whenever those nerds get done putting you back together, I'm gonna just tear you apart and end you for good. Accept your fate or be stripped of your number one contender spot. Number one contender spot. This whole thing with Colby Covington holding the real belt, you know, as played out as it is, and as played out as his whole gimmick is, it gets funnier every time. Every time he mentions him having the real belt or the number one contender spot for Tyron Woodley, it gets funnier every time. Because it's like he doesn't listen to any reason, any actual facts, and he just completely disregards facts and says whatever he thinks. And obviously it's part of his act. It's part of his act for sure. But yeah, I think it just gets funnier every time. I think it would have been amazing to see Tyron Woodley fight against Colby Covington. I think that Tyron Woodley wins that fight again. I think that everything Colby Covington does better, everything Colby Covington does good, Tyron Woodley does better. And yeah. And honestly, I think Tyron Woodley is in the conversation not only for best welterweight of all time, he's in the conversation for the top fighters all time. So, if you have anything to say about Tyron Woodley, if you're going to be objective about it, if you're going to genuinely look yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the face and say, objectively, this is what I think of Tyron Woodley, and it is not in the most positive light as a fighter. You can think what you want about him as a person, but as a fighter, I would have to say he is one of the best of all time. I'd say he is top 2 welterweight of all time. Him and GSP are obviously numbers 1 and 2. No particular order. I can't really rank them considering their eras are different. But Tyron Woodley is, in my opinion, one of the best fighters of all time. He just is such an all-around fighter. He obviously has one punch power. He has takedown defense, as he showed against Damian Maia, and he has amazing game planning. And yeah. I'm back. Sorry for the break there. I had to piss hard. And well, next we're going to get into the next topic, which is UFC 229 betting. What will I bet on with the lines where they stand? Now this card is stacked. You can bet from all the way from the beginning of the prelims to the end of the main card. Tons of fights. Now listen. At this point, I'm looking at Bovada. Bovada's lines have McGregor underdog. He's a 125 dog. Basically, it's a small dog, but it's a dog. I'd pick McGregor, especially at the fact that he's an underdog. My picks, I'm not going to get deep into my picks for right now until we get to the closer next week's podcast. I'll probably delve completely into them. But I think you might want to put some money on Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis looks amazing after his Michael Chiesa fight. Anthony Pettis won by rear naked choke. And Anthony Pettis could look like the Showtime that we came to know and love. Showtime is back, in my opinion. And yeah, OSP also a dog. Surprising. I might put some money on him. Derek Lewis also a dog. Not so surprising. But yeah, those lines are the biggest ones for me as far as Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis, and OSP. I think OSP could take that easily. He seems to be a lack of respect, considering the fact that he's never really crossed that line into the upper echelon of the light heavyweight division. But he kind of floats in the middle between upper echelon and midway. And OSP, I think, I think he will win. I think that even though Dominic Reyes is 9-0, I think that OSP could win that. I think he will. I'll just say right now on the record, OSP will win. Yeah. So Conor McGregor, as I said before, I think that if I'm a betting man, I'll take Conor McGregor, even though it's kind of a toss-up. Anthony Pettis, again, if I am a betting man, which I am a betting man, Anthony Pettis will win, in my opinion. Tony Ferguson coming off a severe injury, huge surgery. If you've seen the scar on that man's leg, it is about the length of a football. And yeah, so speaking of football, I'm going to get into the NFL Week 2 and how the games flipped my fucking world upside down. And the Browns, they win their first game. You know, I feel like the Browns, this is a must-win game for the Browns against the Jets. I don't know how many more chances to win they'll get. The Jets are a lower tier team. The Browns had to win. Baker Mayfield comes on, a roar in the stadium. It seemed like the whole atmosphere of the city changed when Baker Mayfield touched the field, and it was an amazing sight to see Baker Mayfield showed the world what he's made of. He threw, I believe, a touchdown. He caught a two-point conversion, I believe. He won 21-17. My world's flipped upside down. The Bills and Vikings, what the fuck happened? The Bills beat the Vikings. I was in a suicide pool for basically how it works if you don't know. You pick the team you think's going to win for sure every week, and you move on until when you get one wrong, you're out of the pool. So you move on every week until everybody's gone except for one person. The last person left gets the money. I made it up. I took it upon myself to pick against the Bills every single week, and I thought the Vikings-Bills, easiest game of the season. Probably the biggest upset in the whole season. Not only was it an upset, it was a blowout. Bills won 27-6. Will the Bills win another game after that? Who knows? But I hope they do, because then I'll be fucking pissed off if they don't win another game and the only one they won was the one that I bet on them. Next, we have the Packers versus the Redskins. Aaron Rodgers lost to the Redskins. And I'm going to get into some of the stuff that happened in that game. But the Redskins beat them 31-17. Again, my world's flipped upside down. Now, the Redskins aren't a terrible team by any means, but the Packers, they should be the elite. They should be winning. They should be winning at least 12 games this season. But it's not like they have injuries. Aaron Rodgers hurt his knee, but he's playing. They don't have injuries, crazy injuries on their offense. They have weapons. Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. Ty Montgomery, they have Aaron Jones back this game. Didn't see anything out of that guy. But the Redskins won 31-17. Don't know what to say about that. And now we have the worst of them all. The New England Patriots lost to the Detroit Lions. And I'm a Patriots fan. I'll come out right ahead and say it. The Patriots looked terrible. The defense, although full of injuries, was like Swiss cheese. And they had Kerryon Johnson just running through all of those Swiss cheese holes. Patrick Chung, the loss of him, it showed how much we miss him, and the safety biting on a play action for a touchdown. And Kenny Galladay just ran on Stephon Gilmore across the field. And Patrick Chung being there, I think it would have been different. But the Patriots lost 26-10, and it was extremely difficult to sit in the room with a couple of Lions fans and my brother and my father. Tom Brady, we need you to put the team on your back again. Although I'm not worried. First of all, don't take this conversation that I'm having with you guys as me being worried about the Patriots. I think the Patriots still take 11 games this season. I'm not worried at all. If I've learned anything being a Patriots fan for the better part of my life as a human, I'm not worried about Tom Brady, coming up for the clutch. I think that they'll still win 11 games, and they'll probably still go to the Super Bowl. I'm not sure who else could. I think it'll be, mark my words, Chiefs, Patriots in playoffs is going to be one of the best games of the season. Okay. Next, we have Suge Knight. Suge Knight's in prison for 28 years. He's gone. Suge Knight is gone. He is 53 years old. He's going to prison for 28 years for a hit and run. Who would have thought that Suge Knight we got caught for a hit and run? It's like the Juice killing somebody allegedly and then getting caught for stealing baseball cards. Who knows what else Suge Knight got caught for or has done that's illegal in his life. But Suge Knight is done for a 28-year prison sentence for a manslaughter hit and run. You know, not going to say I'm happy, but I'm happy. That's all I got to say about that situation. And so this is going to be it for this first ever Flying Knee podcast. As I think there will be many more. We will be coming at you every Monday morning. Today is a Tuesday. We'll be coming at you every Monday morning to talk about the upcoming fights, the past fights, the past football week, the upcoming football week, and other sports news and current events news to come at you with every single week. Thank you, motherfuckers, for listening, and I'll be back Monday.